now on Afternoon Live. Let's go nationwide and see what's happening around the country in our daily visit to the BBC newsrooms around the UK. Robin Montague is in Southampton this afternoon and will be telling us about the blind Portsmouth astronomer encouraging more people to follow his passion. And Declan Harvey is in Belfast with the story of the 10-year-old Manchester United fan, a letter, and the Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. More from Declan in just a moment. But first, Robin, tell us how Nick first developed this passion for astronomy.
Well, Nick has been severely visually impaired since a really young age when he was born, and he can only really see sort of shapes just at the end of his nose. And when he was younger, at about 5, when the Voyager space probes took off into space, sending out these incredible photos and images, he had his nose pressed right up against the TV screen. And he knew from that moment, everything he was hearing, he just wanted to get into astronomy. He never really thought about being visually impaired as a kind of hindrance to what he wanted to do. He kind of saw it as something that was making him better at his job because he looked at it differently, he looked at it more in depth, and he was using things like heat and textures instead. And his passions have followed through to adulthood, and he's now working at the University of Portsmouth on some pretty exciting stuff. Yeah,
and he teaches. How does he do it?
Well, that's something that naively I was quite surprised to find out about, because I think when you think of astronomy, you think of it as quite a visual profession, but apparently it's not. They use things like objects, or they describe using certain examples. So, for instance, Nick said, when two galaxies collide, don't think of it as two solid objects hitting at mass. Think of it as two people at a wedding throwing rice up into the air. The rice would pass each other, and that's very similar to two galaxies colliding. They actually create these 3D images using 3D printers as well. And because I'm not the lecturer or the teacher, I'm going to hand over to Nick now, and he can explain how they work.
We've basically taken just a regular black and white image. So this is an actual image of this particular galaxy taken by a telescope. And we've turned it into a 3D model by basically modelling the light in that image. So the bits of the image that are brighter stand out more, and the bits that are dimmer sit much closer to this background here. So the basic idea is by running your fingertips over this, you're doing exactly what you would do if you were to look at this with your eyes. You're just getting that same information on the change of brightness in the image with your fingertips instead.
So, Robin, what's next for Nick and the project?
Well, him and this team at the University of Portsmouth, their dream is to make sure that these sort of models that they're developing, the really clever models, are available to any lecturer, anyone that's interested, community groups across the country for free. And they're already doing that at the moment in Hampshire. They've been working on it since 2016, and they want to make sure everyone has the capacity to learn about space and the universe.
Yeah, it's so good to have two feel-good stories this afternoon. Robin, thank you for yours. Now to Declan in Belfast.